Why is it that no matter how much you strive to be seen and heard, you are always the one who ends up bearing the brunt of the blame? This is no mere coincidence. There's a profound spiritual truth at the core of your experience. The plates are clattering, voices hum in light-hearted banter, but beneath the surface there's a tension you can't ignore. As your sibling revels in their latest accomplishment, the family hangs on every word, their smiles wide and approving. But the moment you speak, it's as if a shadow sweeps across the room. A cutting remark slices through the air, and suddenly all eyes are on you, not with interest, but with a cold indifference that feels like a knife to your spirit. You don't see confusion or discomfort in their faces. Instead, you witness the chilling ease with which they dismiss your words, their rejection as casual as it is calculated. In that moment, you understand with painful clarity, you were never meant to fit in here. You are the scapegoat, the one upon whom they heap their insecurities and failings masked as subtle hostility. The first reason you are the family scapegoat is that your very presence threatens the fragile illusion of harmony they've constructed. You, with your unwavering authenticity, shatter their carefully maintained facades, exposing the uncomfortable truths they desperately try to hide. This threat isn't something they can easily ignore. It gnaws at their insecurities, turning their smiles into grimaces behind closed doors. At a family gathering, everyone's laughter flows easily, but when you speak, there's a subtle shift. Nothing overt, but in the eyes that avert and the conversations that suddenly turn cold, you sense it. They don't need to voice their disapproval. It's woven into the very fabric of their interactions. A sarcastic comment is tossed your way, disguised as humor, but it's a dagger aimed at your confidence. Your truth, spoken plainly, is met with dismissive chuckles or a quick change of topic, as if the weight of your words is too heavy for them to bear. You see, your refusal to conform, to play along with the superficial games they thrive on, makes you a target. They project their unresolved issues onto you, not because of anything you've done, but because your existence makes their insecurities glaringly obvious. The air doesn't thicken when you speak. Instead, there's a calculated normalcy in how they sideline you, as if excluding you from their narrative is just another part of their routine. Yet beneath that calm surface, your presence is a constant reminder of what they lack, and it's this unspoken truth that makes you their scapegoat. You are the mirror they refuse to look into, and for that, they place the blame squarely on you. Rejecting the facade they've painstakingly constructed is the second reason you are the family scapegoat. Your refusal to participate in the family's collective deception forces them to confront the very guilt and shame they have buried deep within, and in their eyes, this makes you the perfect target for their projected insecurities. At your cousin's wedding, the atmosphere is thick with exaggerated praise, as everyone gushes over a relative known for their manipulative tendencies. You stand quietly, choosing not to add your voice to the hollow accolades, knowing the truth behind the polished veneer they present. Your silence, though unspoken, roars louder than any flattery, and it's not long before the whispers begin. Later, you're cornered, accused of being unsupportive, even envious, as if your refusal to play along with their charade is a personal affront to their carefully curated image. But what they fail to understand is that your choice to step back from the lie is not rooted in envy but in integrity. You refuse to betray your own values by validating the false narratives they cling to. This act of defiance, subtle yet profound, shakes the foundation of their collective illusion, making you an unwelcome mirror to the truths they'd rather ignore. Their need to maintain the facade is so great that they scapegoat you, labeling you as the problem when in truth, it's their own unresolved guilt and shame that fuels their resentment. Your unwillingness to conform to the lie exposes the cracks in their false unity, and for that, they make you bear the weight of their denial. Reflecting their darkness to them, forcing them to face the flaws and insecurities they've buried deep within, is the third reason you are the family scapegoat. Your presence is a mirror that reveals the cracks in their carefully crafted image, and this confrontation is something they cannot bear. At a holiday dinner, your father, with a voice full of pride, recounts his latest success, basking in the family's approval. But when you calmly yet pointedly mention the cost of his actions, the people he hurt along the way, the atmosphere doesn't explode into chaos. Instead, there's a quiet, almost imperceptible shift. He doesn't argue, doesn't lash out in front of everyone. Rather, his demeanor cools, and the warmth in his voice fades. Hours later, as the night winds down, he subtly blames you for the awkwardness that settled over the evening, a passive-aggressive jab that cloaks his discomfort in a veil of concern. Your willingness to speak the uncomfortable truth reflects a reality he and others in the family would rather keep hidden. It's not your words alone, but the truth they carry that disturbs him, the undeniable light you cast on the shadowy corners of their actions and intentions. In that moment, you become the embodiment of everything they fear, the one who sees through the lies they tell themselves. To deflect from their own shortcomings, they turn you into the problem, the scapegoat, because acknowledging their own darkness would shatter the illusion they so desperately cling to. Your presence, grounded in truth, becomes the unwelcome reminder of what they wish to ignore, making you the easiest target for their misplaced blame. The fourth reason you're the family scapegoat is that you stand unwavering in your integrity, a quality that threatens those who thrive on manipulation and deceit. Your commitment to living authentically exposes the dishonesty that underpins their actions, and this truth is something they cannot tolerate. When the family proposes a business venture that to them seems like an easy opportunity, you see the ethical compromises it demands. You refuse to participate, choosing instead to hold true to your values. The backlash is immediate, not through direct confrontation, but through subtle, passive-aggressive tactics. You notice the exclusion, the way conversations shift when you approach, the sideways glances exchanged when you speak. They don't challenge you openly. Instead, they undermine you in quieter ways, questioning your loyalty and dismissing your concerns as naivete. Your decision to stand firm in your principles becomes a silent rebuke to their willingness to bend the rules. They see your integrity as an affront, a challenge to the web of lies they've spun to justify their actions. In their eyes, your refusal to go along with the plan is not just a rejection of the venture, but a rejection of them, of the way they've chosen to live. And so, to protect themselves from the discomfort your integrity causes, they cast you as the scapegoat. You become the problem, the one who is too rigid, too difficult, too moral, when in reality, it's your refusal to compromise that reveals the depth of their own moral failings. Your steadfastness is a mirror reflecting their ethical shortcomings, and for that, they turn you into the target of their blame. Immune to manipulation, you possess a quality that infuriates those who depend on deceit and coercion to maintain their control, making it the fifth reason you are the family scapegoat. Your clarity of vision, your ability to see through the web of lies and half-truths, disrupts their plans and leaves them powerless to bend you to their will. When your sibling attempts to draw you into their scheme, urging you to support their narrative against another family member, you stand firm. With calm conviction, you refuse to play along, recognizing the manipulation for what it is. There is no confrontation, no raised voices, only your unwavering stance that cuts through their intentions like a knife. But your refusal comes at a cost. As the days pass, you notice the subtle shifts in behavior, the way conversations abruptly end as soon as you approach, the whispers that fall silent as you enter the room. They don't confront you directly. Instead, they isolate you, turning the family against you in quiet, insidious ways. Your immunity to their manipulation is perceived as a threat, an affront to their need for control. They realize they cannot bend you, cannot twist your actions or thoughts to serve their purposes, and this realization breeds resentment. Unable to manipulate you, they label you as the problem, the outlier who refuses to conform. You become the scapegoat, not because of any fault of your own, but because your resistance to manipulation exposes their own weakness. In their eyes, your strength and independence are dangerous, qualities that must be punished, lest they lose the control they so desperately cling to. And so, they cast you out, making you the target of their collective frustration and blame. The sixth reason you are the family scapegoat is that your presence and actions disrupt the entrenched power dynamics, shaking the very foundation of control that certain family members cling to. Your voice, grounded in fairness and equity, becomes a beacon of change, a force that threatens the established order they've worked so hard to maintain. When you propose a fairer approach to handling family finances, one that ensures everyone benefits equally, the response is immediate and dismissive. They don't just reject your idea, they do so with a thinly veiled hostility, masking their fear of losing control with claims of preserving unity. But the true threat is clear. You represent a shift, a challenge to the unspoken rules they've set in place to keep power firmly in their hands. Later, as the family gathers, you notice the subtle shifts in their behavior. Conversations that once flowed freely now carry an undercurrent of tension. You're accused, not of offering a solution, but of attempting to sow discord. The narrative is twisted, painting you as the agitator, the one who seeks to divide rather than unite. In reality, it's your insistence on fairness and justice that unsettles them, exposing the inequities they'd rather ignore. Your disruption of their control is seen as an act of rebellion, a threat to the status quo they've carefully curated. Unable to tolerate the challenge you pose, they cast you as the scapegoat, channeling their frustrations and fears onto you. It's not your actions that are the problem, but the way those actions reveal the cracks in their carefully constructed facade of power. Your mere suggestion of change is enough to destabilize their control, making you the target of their blame and resentment. The seventh reason you are the family scapegoat is that you prioritize spiritual values, a commitment that starkly contrasts with a family driven by materialism and social status. Your focus on growth, on cultivating a life aligned with higher principles, sets you apart, making you a constant reminder of what they've chosen to neglect. When the family gathers for a high-profile event, an occasion dripping with the allure of prestige and societal validation, you choose a different path. Instead of basking in the superficial glow of the event, you spend your time volunteering at a local shelter, living out the values that define your core. The reaction from your family is swift and sharp. Though veiled in the polite language of concern, they don't confront you directly. Instead, there's an undercurrent of disapproval, whispers of you being too self-righteous, a judgment cloaked in the guise of familial worry. Later, as you pass through the family gathering, you notice the coldness in their eyes, the way conversations die down just before you approach. The criticism is subtle, but it cuts deep, an insinuation that your choices are a silent condemnation of their lifestyle. In truth, your commitment to spiritual values is a mirror they cannot bear to face. It highlights the emptiness of their pursuits, the hollow victories of status and wealth that they cling to. Your refusal to join them in these shallow celebrations is seen not as a personal choice, but as a rebuke of their entire way of life. Because you embody a set of values that challenges their priorities, they target you with their resentment. You become the scapegoat, the one who is cast out not for any wrongdoing, but for daring to live by a higher standard, for reminding them of the deeper truths they refuse to acknowledge. Your resilience, a quality that baffles and frustrates those who expect you to crumble under pressure, is the eighth reason you are the family scapegoat. Your ability to rise again and again from the ashes of their attacks reveals a strength they cannot fathom, and in their eyes this resilience is a threat. In the aftermath of a particularly harsh family argument, where accusations and insults are hurled at you with the intent to wound, you retreat into the sanctuary of your faith. You draw strength from within, refusing to let their words break you. Instead of spiraling into despair as they hoped, you emerge stronger, your spirit unshaken by their attempts to tear you down. But rather than recognizing your resilience as a testament to your inner strength, they twist it into something ugly. Their frustration with your unyielding nature turns into resentment. They accuse you of arrogance, of always thinking you're better than everyone else, when in truth, it is your refusal to be broken that unsettles them. They see in you a power that defies their expectations, a force of will that they cannot control. Your resilience is not a quiet surrender to their domination. It is a bold declaration of your independence, a refusal to be shaped by their negativity. In their eyes, your strength is an affront, a challenge to the narrative they've created where they are the victors, and you're supposed to be the vanquished. Your ability to bounce back, to stand tall after every attempt to bring you down, disrupts their expectations and shatters their illusions of control. And so, they make you the scapegoat, punishing you for the very quality they lack, the resilience to withstand adversity without losing yourself. The ninth reason you are the family scapegoat is that you're unmasking their lies, exposing the carefully constructed facade that has long served to hide the truth. As you grow, as you heal, your clarity sharpens, revealing the deceit that they've woven into the very fabric of your family's dynamics. This unraveling of their falsehoods is something they cannot tolerate. When you begin to speak openly about the emotional abuse you endured, your intention is not to confront or accuse, but to heal. You bring your experiences to light, not with bitterness, but with a desire to understand and move forward. Yet instead of being met with acknowledgement or remorse, your words are met with a wall of denial. They don't listen, don't reflect. Instead, they dismiss your pain, trivializing it as mere exaggeration. They label you as the problem, twisting your truth into an inconvenient fiction that disrupts their comfortable narrative. Your revelations are not just inconvenient, they are dangerous to them. Each truth you unveil chips away at the lies they've built their lives around, and they fear that the entire structure will collapse if they allow you to continue. Your courage to speak, to reveal the hidden wounds, forces them to confront the reality they've long denied. But instead of facing their own failings, they turn against you, branding you as the source of discord. In their eyes, you are not just unearthing the past, you are threatening the very foundation of their identity, an identity built on deception and denial. They cannot afford to let your truth stand, so they deflect, deny, and ultimately scapegoat you, casting you as the troublemaker to protect the lies they refuse to let go. You become the vessel for their discomfort, the target of their collective rejection, because your truth is a mirror they cannot bear to face. Your light, a force that shines with an intensity unmatched, draws attention for reasons far beyond the surface. This light is not just a reflection of your actions, but a direct connection to the divine truth and goodness embedded within you. You are not like those who chase the fleeting pleasures of the world, who thrive on material success or societal validation. Instead, your essence is a beacon, a radiant embodiment of spiritual purity that casts a stark contrast against the shadows of worldly values. In a family that clings to these shadows, your light is both a revelation and a threat. The reaction to your light is not mere discomfort. It is a deep, visceral irritation rooted in the very core of those who live behind narcissistic masks. These family members, who build their identities on fragile facades of superiority and control, cannot tolerate the authenticity that you naturally exude. Your presence alone is enough to disrupt their carefully constructed illusions, exposing the cracks in their armor. They see in you what they refuse to acknowledge in themselves, their own lack of spiritual depth, their hollow pursuits, and their desperate need to maintain a facade. Your very essence challenges and disrupts the toxic dynamics of a family entrenched in narcissism and deceit. Their attempts to scapegoat you are not a reflection of your worth, but a testament to the power of your spiritual strength and the integrity you embody. It is your light, your unwavering truth, that they fear the most. Their resistance is proof that you are the catalyst for change, unmasking the lies they cling to and forcing them to confront the shadows they would rather ignore. Remember, this role they've cast you in is not yours to carry. It is a projection of their own insecurities, their fear of the truth that you so boldly represent. Stand firm in your truth, knowing that your resilience is a beacon that cannot be dimmed. Your journey is not defined by their attempts to diminish you. It is shaped by your connection to a higher purpose, one that guides you through the storm with wisdom and grace. Stay resilient, chosen one, and remain steadfast in your divine purpose. Though the path may be fraught with challenges, you are never alone. Your light is guided by a higher power, one that will always lead you toward greater wisdom, growth, and ultimately peace. Share your truth, share your story, and let others see the strength that lies within you.